It's okay.
I suck. So, welcome to the podcast, Edie.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Jennifer. Much appreciated.
I am so excited where this conversation's going, but I want to know in this moment right now, there is something that's lighting you up that we need to talk about.
Mhm.
And I want to know a little bit about this, the stepping away, taking that pause.
Yeah. I just think that it's really important that we not be so obsessed with just focused on our business and working, 20 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. It's just not healthy. And I think that a lot of us are aware that, when we were working 9 to 5 jobs, that it was, not a happy situation for most of us. And now that we're working for ourselves, we tend to spend an inordinate amount of time in our business. And I don't think that that makes a lot of sense. And I think I've heard this a million times with people that are really successful, that they don't work, 10, 15 hours a day, that they really give themselves on a regimented schedule and things of that nature. And so I'm sort of recognizing that that's something that I need to do for myself. And I've done it in a number of ways, sort of taking myself away from some social media platforms. And then now it's really just getting to understand what makes me tick and understand what I need in order for me to be successful in my business without having to work 15 hours a day and on the weekends. And so that's something that I'm really into right now.
Oh, yes. Yes, I need to be really into that too, because I feel like it's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
it's not healthy. And just talking with you and watching your beautiful paintings that you have in the background, and we were talking about this earlier about just having a release for creativity. That's something that I have not done in a really, really long time, and that just sort of made me think about my love of art. I love not only seeing it, but I do, in another life, maybe I'll be a professional artist, but I've always admired artists and admired their talent and their skill. And I've always wanted to do that. So I've always played around with it, but I have not done that lately. So just hearing you and what you do and how you can work with people to sort of release whatever's in them is definitely something that you've motivated me to sort of decide to do that for myself as well.
oh, I'm glad that I've been a little inspiration of, to get
Yes.
that creative flow back
Yeah,
in.
definitely.
And I think that stepping away and having that creative outlet is really where you can like manifest the magic. Take the break from your business. Like we don't have to work and hustle. Like hustle
Right.
culture. Deep breath. Even saying that, there's this
Yeah.
like cringe in my body where it's like hustle more. Like no, live in flow, be creative,
Yeah.
allow it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to trust yourself. And I'm learning to do, I mean, a lot of this is new learning for myself, in that I'm not only taking a step back and looking really honestly at what I'm doing, and is it something that I need to invest my time in? Whereas before I would just dive in, oh, okay, I need to start doing this. Okay, let's, and you're just sort of almost manic about it. And I'm not doing that anymore. I'm really going at this in a methodical way where I just am making better choices, I think, for myself. So that's a good
Oh,
thing.
yeah. You're intentionally making your business work for
Yeah,
you, not working for
ex-
your business and
exactly.
your life.
Exactly. Yeah, that's important. I mean, and a lot of that came about because I think it was last year, I decided to invest in getting a therapist and having that outlet of somebody to talk to and share, whatever my issues might be. And she happened to recommend a book called The Practical Law of Attraction, which I ended up reading like twice. And I have the audio book, and I then took a challenge, and then I'm now in the mastermind for it. So it just like opened up these doors to a way of thinking and a way of being and a way of functioning that I had not been doing for so long. And it's like, why haven't I been doing this? And it's obviously, if you don't know, you won't know. So it was an opportunity to just sort of learn how to live my life a little bit differently, which is much more healthier for me.
Oh, live your life a little bit differently. And it can be just that little pivot and little change. So what was the most like pivotal thing that you took away from reading that book and being in the master classes and all the things?
There are probably too many to mention, but in recent memory, the biggest aha moment is we were focused on awareness. And that's one of the qualities that the author Victoria Gallagher teaches. And it wasn't until I read the chapter, did the process, all the exercises, the affirmations, and all of that, that for me, I became aware of the fact that I was so unaware of the things that I was sort of, I guess, on autopilot in my business. And well, not even in my business. Why am I blaming my business? In my life, where you just sort of, you're walking through life and you're just not really present, I guess, is probably the best way to articulate it. And it doing the exercises made me aware of the fact that I need to be much more aware of what's going on, because all of a sudden years will pass by and you're like, what? I didn't do this, or I didn't accomplish that, or, whatever the case may be. And it's really interesting how unaware we can be sometimes in the way that we live. And this just makes you become present, stay in the now. It's really important for you to be aware of this moment, of the time that I'm spending with you right now, and not thinking of all of the things I still have to do today. Just focused on, how's this conversation between Jennifer and I going? What are we talking about? Enjoying this in the moment, as opposed to thinking about things that happened in the past and regretting those things, or thinking about all of the different things that you need to do in the future. So that probably was my biggest aha moment for me.
Awareness to be in the present moment. I
Yeah.
mean, we could mic drop there and it's like, this was so profound. Like we could be done, but we
Yeah.
are. I'm not going to let you get away that easy. But I think that what you've created by doing this and seeing it's not just your business. We oftentimes do blame our business. I'm too busy. I have too many things,
Right.
this task, that it trickles out. And then all of a sudden your relationships start to fail.
Mhm.
Your joy, your magic, your creativity, all of it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
So I think that is so amazing that you became aware of what's going on in this moment. That's
Yeah.
yeah. Mic drop.
And I think even one of the awareness is like I mentioned before with your artwork, that was something that was a passion of mine, but I think I pushed it down because I don't consider myself a professional artist. So how dare I try to do anything? And in hearing what you do and how you created the artwork that you have, I'm like, yeah, it's not a matter of whether I think what I'm doing is beautiful or not, because, that isn't really the point. It's releasing that creativity. And that is definitely something that I've been stifling for a while. And I definitely am going to get back to doing it. And it's not even just artwork. There's other things in other parts of my life that are creative based, that have nothing to do with my business, but that are things that I've always been passionate about doing. And I've just not focused on it because I've put these rules and regulations on it, where it's like, well, I'm not because the other passion that I have is I love coming up with creative video or movie ideas. And I'll come up with the concept of it. And it might be even an outline, but I wouldn't dare write a script because I'm not a writer, so therefore I can't write a script, which is the silliest thing that you should ever tell yourself. And so all of these ideas get sort of, I was looking to see if I had the list of the packet of all of my ideas, but I do have it somewhere here. But all of these ideas just got stacked somewhere for years and I haven't done anything with it. So now, because I'm so aware of the things that I'm doing and not doing, I'm recognizing those are areas that I need to focus on as well. And I just need to carve out the time in my day or in my week where I can put my energy towards that, because I think that's going to make me a better person. I'm going to be more well-rounded, and I probably will be happier too, because I'm going to be doing things that are releasing a creative side of me that I've kind of kept locked up for a while.
Yeah. And those parts of us that we keep locked up is normally where that magic is. And
Mm-hmm.
that's normally where the joy and the happiness and all the things that we actually desire in life, they actually manifest from those things that we lock down because we are worried.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look at my paintings and I'm like, they look like a 10-year-old did them, but at the same
Nope.
time, I also teach people to paint with their eyes closed.
Right.
So there's the two ends of the spectrum. We're so mean to ourselves in that inner
Mm-hmm.
narrative that I think that you becoming aware of this present moment and catching those patterns, oh, so much magic is coming.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And I think your paintings are amazing. So, but
Well,
that is
thank you.
true. That's how we look at each other's work. Because even if you take it into the work atmosphere, I work with a lot of clients who are afraid to create videos because they don't like the way that they look on camera, or they think that they don't have anything to contribute. And I was there. It's still, I still have my moments too, but it's not until you actually put the work out there that you start to get the feedback. And then you're like, you think it was a piece of crap that you put out. But in fact, there are all these people that are like, this was the first time I've ever watched a video and I understood how to do fill in the blank. And you're like, really? So it's really imperative that we don't hold ourselves back. And that's something in the awareness process that I recognized in myself, was that I was holding myself back because I was putting all of these criticisms on myself and saying, oh, I can't do this, or oh, I can't do that. And if you're not willing to put it out there for other people to judge, then you'll never know. And so what if somebody doesn't like it? It's not going to be the end of the world. You're not going to die. It's okay, their opinion. And so that is the best way for you to develop a thick skin, and then also to recognize that there are people out there that appreciate what you are doing, and that's crucial.
Yeah. So you had a fear of being on video
Oh
because
God,
I
yeah.
know I know your YouTube channel is huge.
I had a fear like you would not believe. It wasn't, it was a combination of, I didn't like the way that I looked. And granted, I was heavier back then, but that wasn't, it had nothing to do with that. I was not somebody that was comfortable being in front of the camera ever. When I worked in the entertainment industry, I was always, the art department manager, I was production coordinator, production, assistant. I'm behind the camera. I'm not the person in front of. And so just the act of being in front of a camera and knowing that that red light is blaring in your eyes and you're like, I can't mess up, it just puts this pressure on you that makes you freak out. It's not that, I would tell people, just act like you're talking to yourself or you're talking to your best friend when you're looking at the camera. And it was hard for me because I am telling my clients, oh, you need to do video. Video is going to do amazing things for your business. But who am I to say that to them? And then I'm not willing to put myself on video. So my first sort of foray was doing screen recording videos where you could hear my voice and you could see me teaching you stuff, but I wasn't actually on there because it was just a screen recording. And then I was like, okay, Edie, you can't keep doing this. This isn't going to work. You have to get in front of the camera. So slowly but surely, I just sort of, got myself a little bit more comfortable. And believe it or not, the thing that got me over the fear was live streaming. And it was because once it's live, you can't, what are you going to do? you know? So I don't know what I can't, I wish I could articulate what it was that made me recognize that, okay, it's okay to do it, because initially when there was Periscope, so this is before Facebook Live,
I remember
I
Periscope.
was scared to death and did the wackiest, I hope to God they're still not out there, but did the wackiest Periscope lives and did it a handful of times and was like nervous the first time that I did it. But somehow when by the time it migrated over to Facebook, somehow I got a little bit more comfortable, or I got used to it, or it was more mainstream. I don't know what it was, but I eventually started to, oh, I know what it was. Facebook, I think, allowed you to do it where you were just doing it, to like obviously your personal page. So it would only be family and friends. And so that was a little more comfortable for me. So I would start there before I ever did it on my business page. And then eventually I'd had a group and I started doing it on my group. But that got me a little bit more accustomed to seeing myself on camera. And so therefore I was then able to sort of parlay that into recording myself as well. But yeah, I didn't care to do in person or direct to camera videos. Not happening. Yeah. But
Wow.
thankfully I'm over that.
Yeah. Because now you're helping other people break into this like video thing that I'm going to tell you, listeners, don't stop listening, because we are going to talk about not social media today. We're going to talk about YouTube, because there is this powerful platform that many of us forget about, that we are doing these live streams that last for what, 24 hours if we're lucky.
Right. If you're
Maybe.
lucky on Facebook. I don't know what the algorithm, I'm not on Facebook, so I don't know how long they last, but they don't last very long. And unless you're obviously putting money behind it. But on Facebook, it's, I think, the norm to do them because everybody's so used to it. And I totally get that. It's like anytime anybody thinks live stream, it's Facebook Live. They're thinking before anybody, maybe Instagram comes in a close second. But nobody is thinking about YouTube. And that is, to me, a mistake because of the fact that your content can be found today, next week, next year, 5 years from now. And all they have to do is use the same keyword string of keywords. And as long as you're talking about something that people are struggling with or that they have issues with, and we all kind of have the same issues. If you have an issue with, you're struggling with trying to figure out how to go live, you don't know, you want to know what the steps are. The way that you ask that question today is going to be pretty close to the same way you're going to ask 5 years from now. So your video is going to be found, if you're providing a solution, it's going to be found years from now. And there isn't another platform, obviously, besides Pinterest is another search engine that's going to allow you to do that. Facebook isn't right now. Facebook is not a search engine. So to me, yeah, you may have a banging group on there. And so if you do, good for you. You don't need any more customers and you don't need any more visibility. What you have over there for you is fine. And I would never tell anybody give up a platform and come to YouTube. I just think that it's something that's an addition, that particularly for those who want to use it for visibility and marketing purposes, that it's a platform that you shouldn't ignore.
Oh, say
Yes.
it again for the people in the back.
I know. They should not ignore YouTube. It is the second largest search engine. They don't spit out these stats for nothing. And so you really should embrace it. And I think what YouTube is trying to do is make it a little bit more friendlier and better for you to be able to use it and not have a reason to say, oh, I don't want to use YouTube. So obviously you can put out, because a lot of what is a turnoff for some people is the fact that they're like, oh, well, to do a YouTube video, it has to be so professional looking, and it has to be glossy, and I have to have makeup on, and I have to have the perfect, all of this. And yes, the quality of the videos are far superior to what you're going to find on Facebook or on even possibly LinkedIn and definitely Instagram. But you don't need to just focus on that. You need to really focus on what is the message that you're conveying. Are you informing, educating? Are you sharing thought leadership ideas? Are you entertaining? If you can do all of those things in one video, you've hit the jackpot. Because entertaining videos is definitely something that keeps people's attention, because it's, you know, like if you have a personality and you can crack jokes. I'm fairly dry. I don't have that great of a personality. So my videos, unfortunately, unless I, you know, figure out something, are going to always be sort of, you know, this is how you do this. But hopefully I say it in a way where it's easy for them to understand. And that is the sort of mantra for my channel, is that I provide tutorial videos on simple to use and easy to learn video creation tools. So that's pretty much why you're coming to my channel. You're not coming to see me dance, to see me sing or crack jokes, because that's just not my shtick. So depending on who you are and who your audience is, you just need to provide that content to them. And as long as you're doing it in a way that they can relate to you, and everybody has their unique audience. So I don't ever want to hear anybody say, well, there's nobody there that's going to watch my videos, or that I've tried to do it before and nobody watched my videos. The reason why nobody watched your videos is because you didn't optimize the video. And so therefore it couldn't get found. People aren't going to watch things they can't find. So you need to make sure that you are optimizing the videos, that you're creating videos that people are going to be able to get something out of it, whether it's an education, whether it's just information, whether it's, you know, entertainment, just to escape from whatever it is that they're in. And so YouTube gives you that ability to create that kind of content on that platform, on their main platform. And so don't think that, oh, well, I have to hire a professional videographer or a production company in order to create the content. The top YouTube creators, for the most part, a lot of them have a team that follows them, or they have access to high-end expensive equipment. That doesn't mean that that's what you need. I'm a proponent, and on my channel, all of my videos are either recorded with my HD webcam or my smartphone. And that's what I teach my audience as well, because you don't need to go to that extreme. I do use professional lighting and a professional microphone. And that's where you really need to make sure that you're spending money, because you want to be seen. You know, you want to make sure that they can clearly see you and hear you, because those are the two things that will determine whether somebody watches your video or not. But I love the fact that first, when shorts came out, I was like, how do I feel about shorts? And now I'm recognizing the impact that it has. And I just saw an article yesterday where Snapchat is allowing you to share your shorts from YouTube directly to Snapchat. And I was like, what does this say about Snapchat? Because to me, that's huge. And so that speaks a lot to what you are able to get out of shorts. And shorts is really popping. It's been out for about a year now, and a lot more people are using it. And I even know that there are some people that that's all they do. They don't even have a regular normal channel with longer content. They're just doing shorts. So it's definitely, YouTube is opening themselves up so that they can offer other opportunities. They do have a community platform where you can do regular posts. I've dabbled in that a little bit. I think for some, depending on the size of your community, it's going to possibly work for you, because you can make announcements of videos that you have coming up and things of that nature. But when I saw that, I was like, are you trying to get like the other social media platforms? Because I love the fact that you're unique and different. But they've kept it. So I don't know if it's mattering one way or the other in terms of usage. I think there are people that are using it, but definitely shorts is where it's at right now.
Ooh. So what exactly, I'm like super YouTube challenged, I'm gonna say. I now stream to YouTube Live. Does that count? But
Yes,
outside
it does
that and
count.
updating some of the SEO stuff, like what is a short? Is that kind of like the reels and
Yeah,
TikToks
yeah, it's
of
sort of
YouTube?
YouTube's answer to TikTok. And so it's 60 seconds or less. And it has to be filmed in portrait style. It can be done on your phone and uploaded directly using the YouTube app from your phone, or you can create it on your computer and then upload it from your computer to YouTube. It definitely gets more views faster than a lot of the normal regular videos that you have. And they're just, it came out as an experiment and they're playing around with it. It's still, it's not fully optimized or not fully monetized yet, but they are offering opportunities for you to make money based on the amount of views that you get. But it's definitely something that creates creativity, because you have different ways that you can, everybody uses it completely different. You can use it to just film yourself talking for a minute. You can do it where you take an existing video that you've created for your regular channel, chop it up into bits where it's just a minute long, just change the formatting to the portrait format, put that up as a teaser that leads to your video that's on YouTube. You can do it where you're just doing some really cute, TikTok-y like type video. And I'm not on TikTok. So whatever you can imagine on TikTok, you can do on YouTube Shorts. It's pretty much the same.
All right, you've just totally blown my mind and just made it so I'm, audience, if you haven't heard, I'm trying to jump ship from the mainstream social medias and go into things that are fun, searchable,
Mhm.
podcasting,
Right.
YouTube, maybe
Yeah.
someday Pinterest, but that's a whole nother level.
Yeah. I
And
have to learn about that more.
that is so cool that you can create a teaser.
Mhm.
So I can create things. And I think one of the things that really stood out from what you just said is that you don't have to have it professionally produced. Like,
Right.
it's great if you can get somebody to produce it and do all
Right.
the fancy things for you, but you can be successful showing up if
Mhm.
you optimize in the right way. And
Yeah.
that just made me, I'm a full all in.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, please sign me up. Let's make this YouTube thing happen, because I feel like it is another place that you can show up authentically.
Yes. And that's crucial. I remember I had a coach probably about 5 or 6 years ago, and she was a sales coach. And one of the things that she insisted upon, and this had to do with whether you were doing live streams or if you were doing pre-recorded videos. And she was like, you had to be on camera, made up, and you had to have your lips in a pop of color so that you can blah, 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 blah. And I'm listening to her and I'm like, I don't wear makeup. And so I'm like, I'm not comfortable having to put on a facade in order to allegedly be authentic. That to me doesn't make sense. And so I opted to not do what she said. And I've not had anybody have any issues with the fact that, I'm not wearing makeup. Have I lost views because of that? Who knows and who cares? But I'm showing up as myself. I am being Edie when I'm on camera. I'm not any different when I'm not, I might be a little bit more put together when I'm on camera than I am when I'm not. But other than that, what you see is what you get. And I don't want to be somebody one way on camera. And then when you see me in person, you're like, you're who? You don't look anything like her. That's not, that's not authentic to me, because I have to feel comfortable. And when I have makeup on, I feel like it's a mask, literally. So I'm just not into that.
Oh, There's so much there. There's so many different directions we could take that conversation. But I think that it's amazing that you have stepped in. You have pretty much broken up with social media. You've leaned in and you've created this beautiful business where you are helping other people step in and utilize this platform to build big, successful businesses that aren't on social media. I mean, like, did you hear that, folks? You can break up with social media and still build that big empire you desire.
Yeah, and I think it's certainly a personal choice for everyone. I have been in conversation of late with a few people who have said that they have, closed their accounts. I spoke to one person a couple of days ago where she's not even on LinkedIn. She's not on anything at all. And it was because she had a moment with herself and recognized that it was not healthy for her to be on these platforms, and she chose to step away from them. Everybody has a different reason. I stepped away in 2020, mainly because of all of the craziness that was going on at the time. And there were just some encounters that I had online with people I knew, where there were these back and forth type arguments or whatever it is that you want to call it. And I just was like, this isn't the place. I joined Facebook because it was allowing me to connect with people I had not seen in decades. And I didn't go to school here in the States. So for me to be able to connect with my classmates from the Virgin Islands was like, what? So that was a huge, so it was a happy reason why I was on social media. And then it's turned into a not happy, occasion when I'm having conversations or arguments over, what it's like to be Black in America. I don't need to have that conversation. If you don't understand, I don't need to have that conversation with you if you're not willing to listen. And so that just caused me to just say, you know what? I need to pull away and not be a part of this type of conversation because it wasn't healthy. And so more and more people are now recognizing for themselves what really is necessary. And then when you go, if you even take that away and you go behind the scenes and then you ask yourself, what's the purpose of these platforms? What are they doing with the information that you're providing them? That then gets into a deep, dark aspect of it that you're like, I'm not, I mean, for me, it's too late. I've given them all of my information. They have my photographs. They have, so they're going to do whatever they need to do with that. But it just really gives you pause when you have an involvement like this. It's like, okay, why am I doing this? And what are they getting out of it? Because you really do need to think about it. If a platform is free, then what is the price that you're actually paying? Because you are paying a price. And
Yeah.
so you need to be able to be at peace with whatever that price is.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that is so juicy.
Yeah.
And the awareness it took to say, hey, this is not my space. And then the brave leap that you took to say, okay, I'm going to shut this down. I don't know if it was how you were promoting or, building your business back then, but to shut it down and say, no, I'm going all in this other way that feels so good to my soul. Oh,
I
so,
think for
so amazing.
me, it wasn't the primary, the vast majority of my business that I got, and I still get is from referrals. Now it's referrals and networking opportunities. I'm better one-on-one with people. I'm not someone that likes to run a group or get into a group and start doing all of the whatever you need to do, and making sure that you're not disobeying whatever the rules and regulations are for any particular group, which just was very off-putting for me, because I'm sort of like, I get that you created the group and you nurtured it up to however many thousands of people that are in it, but it's sort of like, that the vast majority of the people that were in those groups are in those groups, maybe a good percentage because they needed help and you provided, resources or information or the ability to answer questions. But a lot of them were in there because they were desperate to network. They wanted to get business. And so because those groups were not set up that way, it really benefited. It was almost like a pyramid scheme. Now that I think of it, it benefits the person on the top and not everybody else that's sort of helping nurture, because you are in there answering questions and doing all of those types of things. And that just turned me off. That aspect of it turned me off. So, nothing against all of the big groups, and, thank you for what you do, but it just wasn't the model for me. So fortunately, it wasn't like I had a lucrative group and I said, okay, I'm turning my back. My group was fairly small. So when I closed it, it wasn't that big of a deal, but I just opted to go a different route. And when I discovered network marketing, in the sense of you get together in a group, you have breakout sessions, you're able to get to know a small group of people. And then from there, you're able to have one-on-one conversations where you can get to know the person a little bit better. You understand what they do and who is a good referral for them. To me, it's a bit more personal, and that's what I prefer. That works for me, as opposed to these very cold and sterile, in a weird way, groups where you're like, it's like crabs trying to get out of a barrel. And that just didn't appeal to me. But,
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
And we all can have our own opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
I am
don't want
totally with
anybody
you.
Okay, good. I don't want
I'm
anybody
with
being
you.
offended.
If they're offended, they shouldn't be on this podcast, because we talk about all the things. So
Yeah.
one of my questions I have is, because the part of the group that was, if you're in the right groups, let's
Right.
not, we all know the groups that I'm talking about as the wrong groups, but those right groups where you are connecting, how do you bring that community to YouTube?
Well, I never was able to successfully work in those groups where I could bring them over to YouTube. All I could do is, answer questions. And there were always questions about YouTube and how to use it. And, specifically, I did this and this didn't work out. And I would answer all of those questions. Now, for me, the way that I would get some of those people, not necessarily to YouTube, but on my list, is that they would ask for, do you have a checklist, or can I get more information? And I'd say, sure, here. And that was sort of the only way that you could sort of quote unquote market yourself, was if someone directly asked you. And you could either say, well, DM me and I'll give you the information, excuse me, or you could post whatever it was, whether it was your website or whether you had a video that could answer their questions, which is what I did. That was the tactic that I did a lot of times. When people would come on, I remember back in the day when video was still in its early days on Facebook, and there were all these cool things that you could do in the back end. And a lot of people didn't know how to do some of the things like add captions and things like that. So I would just whip out videos really, really quickly, specifically for Facebook. But then I would create it in such a way that it was actually quality worth for YouTube. And I'd post it on Facebook, and that sucker would get so many views. And then that way I did get a lot of people on that's how I built my email list initially, was doing things like that. Whenever anybody had a question, I would just whip out a video real quick to answer it, as opposed to typing and saying, well, first you do this and then you do that. It just knocked out a video and sent it off to them. And that really impressed them as well. And then from there, they were like, oh, do you have other videos? Well, yeah, check out my YouTube channel. So that's kind of how I would do it initially.
So you keep teasing us about this YouTube channel. Where do we find you?
On YouTube. It's youtube.com/C/virtually in sync, and then the number 1.
And I'll make sure to get that in the show notes. But you keep talking about your YouTube channel, so we had to drop it in here.
Thank you.
And I know that you are helping people get their YouTube channel up and running. So that it does, for me, it's the next step after, now that I've got this podcasting thing, is moving to YouTube, because there's so much freedom because of the searchability.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about how you work with your clients and how they
Yes.
can get a hold of you for that?
Certainly. The vast majority of clients that I work with, usually it's a small percentage already are comfortable with video and are doing video and they just need help with the YouTube aspect. The vast majority are not even comfortable with the creating video aspect. So we have to jump through that hurdle first before we get to YouTube. So I work with them from conception to completion. And the first thing that usually they're confused about is exactly knowing what they're going to create the videos on. So they obviously know what their sweet spot is, their genius zone. So I just pull it out of them in terms of just understanding what are the needs of their clients, what is it that they actually do, what are the different types of services that they offer to their clients, and what are the pain points and issues that their clients are having, and is it, what are the different buckets in terms of, if somebody might be a coach, so they may be a business coach. Okay, so you want to definitely talk about the problems that people may have starting up a business, but then there might be other aspects of either their business or maybe even related to business, but not business, that your audience might be interested in. So I just kind of pull out as much information about what they're good at, what their genius zone is, and really trying to create content based on that. So I start off with just getting a brain dump of ideas. And then from there, my team and I will do all of the keyword research to make sure that we have keyword optimized titles, and then give those titles back to the client. And then the client has to craft what they're going to say in the video. And that either could be a script, or it could be bullet points or an outline or something that will just keep them on track so that they know, okay, I'm not talking for 30 minutes. I'm going to be talking for a specified period of time. And then we meet once a month or once every other month. And then we get all of their videos recorded in that time. And then from there, and this is all done remotely. And then from there, we edit their videos and then do a schedule as to when those videos are going to be published. And then we manage their YouTube channel by reviewing their analytics and all of that good stuff. But for the most part, all of our clients are ready to embrace YouTube. And that's one of the names of my services, is Embrace YouTube. And I like that terminology because, people are always sort of afraid. They're kind of pushing back away from it. And really, you should be embracing it because it is a tool. I know what it's done for my business and for my visibility. And I'm not someone that up until, in 2020, from 2020 to 2021, I posted every week. Prior to that, and since then, I post every month or every couple of months. Prior to 2020, if I posted 4 times in a year, that was lucky, because I just was focused on my clients and doing what needed to be done for them. And my channel still grew. So that told me that it's not, yes, it's imperative. If you want to grow fast, if you want to get to the, million subscribers, thousands and thousands and thousands of views per video, yeah, frequency is going to get you there. So if you're doing it once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, there are major YouTube creators that are doing stuff on there every day. More power to them. But YouTube is not my full-time job. I think that there's a difference between YouTube being your full-time job and it being a tool that you're using to market your business. I think that they're two different. I focus on YouTube to market your business. So that's a different animal completely. And in seeing what I've been able to accomplish without necessarily sticking to a specific schedule, although I'm not saying you can be sporadic like me. You should have some kind of consistency, but whatever that is for you. So if it's once a month, so be it. If it's twice a month, more power to you. So whatever it is that you can handle is what I think you should do. And then you will, I've been around for a while. So it's not like my YouTube channel just started. So I'm not proposing that from Jump Street, you start at once a month and think that it's going to be like, okay, I'm going to get all of these views. It doesn't work that fast anymore. You do have to be at this for a while before you start to get the benefit, but it is worth it. And I get clients all the time who have seen my content, had a question. They may have even emailed. Sometimes they'll email me a question about it, and then they'll schedule a free consultation, and then they'll become a client. Or they watch a video. Oh, okay, Edie knows everything is about whatever that tool is. Let me go and get a consultation. And then the next thing I know, they're hiring me to coach them. More often than not, I get coaching clients from my YouTube channel, not the done for you, because it's two different audiences. So my channel is really not targeted for the remote services anyway. And so from there, they'll hire me to walk them through because they've already seen what I can do through my videos on my channel. So all they're doing is, it's sort of an opportunity for them to get me privately, one-on-one, for however many hours that they book, for me to basically do what I do in my videos, which is to show them how to solve whatever their problem is, or to do whatever it is that they need me to do for them.
Oh,
And I want my clients, I want anybody that learns from me, because I just created a digital course last week that I released for newbies, for people that are just starting out and want to get the fundamentals down. I want anybody that learns from me to understand the impact that YouTube can actually have if you use it. So
yeah. And it's all about how you, in any of these platforms,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know. I'm not a social media girl. So I know for podcasting, it's the same way as like anyone could start a podcast,
Right,
but not everyone can be successful
right,
and monetize and grow their
right,
podcast. It's just not going to happen. And I'm
right.
sure it's the same way. I see a lot of similarities and differences because I can hide behind the camera, if
Right,
I wanted to. I
right,
don't, because I
right,
stream mine
right.
also. But I love that you are helping people with this and be seen and heard in a way that can show up in 10 years.
Yeah.
You could still
And
be
that's
relevant in 10 years.
exactly. And that's crucial. And then speaking of podcasts, I forgot another article I just read not too long ago, where the rumor is, YouTube has not officially announced this, but they are going to come out with a standalone page for podcasts on YouTube. So they're going to start really encouraging, which I've already encouraged anybody that is a client of mine that does a podcast. I'm always do a video on, do a video, even if you're stripping the audio, do a video on. And that's what they tend to do, is do video podcasts, but then they'll strip the audio. And usually they don't do anything initially with the video parts of it, but then I'm like, upload that sucker onto YouTube. And so now there is, I don't know how true this is, nobody's at YouTube is denying it, even though it's been published. So I have to think that there might be some possibility of that, but they're going to give podcasts its own homepage. So anybody that has a video podcast will start to get, yeah. So separating the two makes sense. So now it totally makes sense to do that, because because when I first, and this is 2012, 2013, I think is when I started my YouTube channel, there were a handful, and I mean literally like maybe 3 to 5 podcasts that had video back then. There weren't a lot of people doing video. Now I think it's, there's like a whole heap of them now. For the most part, every time I'm interviewed for a podcast, it's a video. It's a video podcast. So I think it's a little bit norm now, but not necessarily is everybody using the video aspect of it. They might be doing it like we're doing it now for the purpose of stripping the audio and not really intending to use the video aspect other than maybe promotional, but they're not really truly using it in the essence that they can. And now hopefully, fingers and toes crossed, that YouTube is actually going to encourage podcasters. So keep an eye out for that.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That is so exciting, because
Yeah.
again, YouTube is my next strategy, because it's time for me to break up with social media, because it doesn't fill my soul
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah. And I
It
think
sucks
that's
my
important.
soul.
Yeah. I think that's important. That's really important. So you want to have a platform where you're helping and not on a platform that's hurting. So, and I think,
Yes.
not to say that YouTube's perfect, because Lord knows they've been through, a lot of issues with wacky people having channels and, all of that good stuff. But I think it's just a little bit more controllable over there.
Oh, yay. So excited.
Yeah.
So if someone were to walk away with just like that one little thing, that one mic drop moment that was like, okay, I'm going to remember this forever, what would you want them to walk away with?
Well, that video lasts forever. And it really, and because of that, YouTube is the best platform for you to get found in the future. I mean, that's a thing I say to everybody all the time. And I probably sound like a broken record in that if you're using YouTube and you're using it correctly and effectively, your videos will be found years from now, as long as the platform is still around. And we can say that about all platforms. So I don't want to go comparing platform to platform, because all of them could disappear tomorrow. But YouTube is one of the few that is going to be able to allow your content to be found, a generation from now. And you can't say the same for Facebook or for Instagram or for Twitter or for LinkedIn for that matter. And so that is something that I want people to always keep in the top of their mind, is that, do you want to use a platform where your content disappears after 24 hours? Or do you want to use a platform where your content is there for years to come?